Hey everyone, and welcome to the first ever edition of Community Rewind. I'm your host, Alex Mead, and pretty much everyone knows at this point that COVID-19 has vastly changed the way that we do every single little thing in our daily lives. Here at WLCU, we had to figure out a way to take our programs, take people from their homes, and put them into your homes. Campbell's University had to do the same thing with figuring out a way to take face-to-face classes and move them all online. Keep a workflow going even though no one's in the office right now. Things are pretty crazy right now, but we've had to learn to adjust and adapt to our circumstances. On Community Rewind this week, we got plenty of action coming up as we have head coach Perry Thomas, and then we have the man who came up with the idea for See You at Home, E.J. Pavey, along with the Dean of the School of Theology, Dr. John Hurchin. But up first, we have a man that's going to give us a little bit of insight into the administration side of things and some of those hard decisions that's had to come down, along with a little bit of his personal life as well. Josh Schweitzer.
COVID-19 has changed a lot of things. It's impacted what people expect. You go through a process like college. That's this 4-year process to get to the end point that usually comes with a big graduation, and it comes with awards, and people have put in extra hours and extra time, and they've studied harder, and they've done all this work to deserve these awards. And then you get to the point where all of that culminates and it's nothing. That's what we wanted to avoid. We wanted to avoid the nothing. Because students deserve this. Students' families deserve this. The families supported these students along their journey to get to the point where they earned these recognitions. So in a President's COVID Council meeting, which has been a council that's been meeting since this pandemic began, it was pitched that maybe we should do something virtually. Now, this took lots of different forms in the beginning. It was everything from one-on-one Teams presentations to a giant Zoom presentation that would invite family and friends, but we finally narrowed it down to make it as close to the real thing as possible. And that was moving into the chapel with just a few presenters so we could manage social distancing properly, and then having our broadcast team step in. The broadcast team really brought it all to the table here. They helped to coordinate. They designed a whole program that would feature these students, went through the task of getting over 150 different pictures of students to put together a running slideshow as names were announced, and then it was recorded live in the chapel studio. It was wonderful. We got phone calls from parents who asked how they could share it out to the rest of the family so grandma and grandpa could see it. It gained a lot of traction. And while we didn't get to shake hands with the students and we didn't get to give them that face-to-face congratulations, we took this as far as we could in letting them know that what you did was recognized, what you did was appreciated, and we're super proud of you. And so it was a team effort across administration, across all of our communications departments, but we pulled it off, and it was a wonderful, wonderful result. It's so easy to get hit with this quick change and have to shift gears completely in a way that we've never done it before. It's so easy in those moments to get bogged down, to put your head down, to get frustrated. But I have been able to watch over the past couple months. I've watched faculty, administration, staff, students, alumni, all step up to the plate. No one's got their head down. No one's wallowing in pity. Instead, it's opening minds to take on innovative approaches. How do we take this and how do we shift it out of a negative into a positive? What can we do to engage deeper in the community? Our church outreach team helping churches with their programming, broadcast, offering extra airtime on the television station for churches that need to get their sermons out. We're reaching out into these areas where people are struggling, and not only are we finding ways to manage things internally, but we're helping to manage things externally. And that's what universities are about, right? It's not just about providing an education. It's about reaching out into the community where you're located and helping to push forward the common good. The whole past 2 months have been sad. When you think about the families that have been impacted, the families who've lost people that they care about, the families who've not been able to be with their loved one as they've been in the hospital, that's heartbreaking. This has been a moment for my family. We've learned to appreciate each other more. We've learned that the little things don't quite matter like we thought they did. We've learned how to love each other a little closer. We've learned how to smile a little bigger, how to brush off frustration. It's been something that we've not always been successful at. But man, I hope we carry it on past this. Everybody talks about returning to how it used to be, right? And that's what we want. We want to go back to the way it used to be. I don't want to go back to exactly the way it used to be. I want to continue some of this. I want to continue family game nights. I want to continue coffee at sunrise. Those are things that I'd forgotten. I'd become too busy. So the COVID-19 quarantine has forced me to look introspectively, both at myself and at my family, and see the areas where we really could use some improvement. And man, it's made a difference in our house.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just because we're being healthy at home and practicing good social distancing doesn't mean we have to lock ourselves away and throw away the key. You can still get up and stay active, not only for our physical health, but for our mental health as well. Maybe it's time to pick up running again. Or you can take the dogs for a walk. And with all the barbershops and salons being closed, right now seems to be a good time to learn to cut your own hair. But no matter what you do, make sure you have fun. And for more information on what Campbell's University is doing in our battle against COVID-19, visit campbellsville.edu.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19, and that means calling ahead instead of going directly to a doctor or hospital if you're sick. It means being more patient. We're all in this together, and we all have a role in preventing the spread. So, prepare, focus on the essentials, protect, keep some space from people outside your home, and disinfect a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Welcome back to Community Rewind. Still a lot to come today as we have head coach Perry Thomas as well as the Dean of the School of Theology, Dr. John Hurchin. But up first, we got the man who came up with this crazy idea to take a little glimpse into people's homes, see what their daily lives look like, what working at home looks like for them, what working from home with kids looks like, what do they do for relaxation when they're not on the clock. Things are completely different for all of us today, and here at Campbell's University is no different. But up first, we got to take a look at EJ Pavey and how did he get the idea for CU at Home, and what's some of the responses he's getting from the Campbell's University family.
Once we started making the move to begin working remotely, I started talking with Jason Lawson, my boss, just about I've seen some things that were coming out from different universities about how they were planning to keep their faculty and their staff engaged and connected. And so I thought it'd be cool if we could do something like that out of the personnel office. And so kind of brainstormed for a little bit, and then I pitched the idea to him, and he liked it, took it to admin council, and from there I kind of picked up speed, and I think we got it going in about a 2-week time frame. So I've got a number of people that will send in submissions just about every week. We're getting somewhere between 175 and 250 views on what we're sending out at the end of each week. And so I have no idea of knowing if those are the same people each week or not, but even individuals who are not sending in submissions are sending notes saying that they enjoy reading them or have benefited from them in some way, which is really great. It's really interesting to see how people interpret each one of the prompts that I send out each week. And, everything from how are you balancing work and family, or, what is your at-home workspace? Like that one was particularly interesting because you had people who, even being out of the office, like they still needed that set routine, and that's where they found out that they were going to be more productive. Whereas you've had other people that were completely different and saying, it's great, I get to be outdoors, I can go sit on my patio, I can, be much more mobile working remotely. And they found that to be much more motivating, and found themselves to be more productive doing that. So the responses each week, like, it's not like, I send out the prompt, but it really kind of speaks to the individuality and the creativity of our faculty and staff, assuming that each work week begins on a Monday. So like this week we had Memorial Day, so I didn't send out the prompt until Tuesday. I sent it out to every employee through email on the first work day of the week, and they just respond directly to me. I compile all of the submissions, and they can either reply directly to that email and it'll come to me, or they can shoot me another email. But yeah, it's all just through email. We don't have anything on the web page or anything like that. But if they want to, they can just be on the lookout. I try and send those out around the 10 o'clock hour on Monday. And then after we get all of the submissions, I also try and send out the final compilation on Fridays, also around 10, although I think this week it may have been around noon.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks all healthy donors to schedule an appointment to give now. With the coronavirus outbreak, it is important to maintain a sufficient blood supply. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
Hey, Mommy.
All right, don't forget to buckle up.
As parents, we make daily decisions to keep our children safe. But it's easy to forget that sexual abuse could happen to any child, at any place, by anyone. It's our responsibility to prevent child sexual abuse. To learn more, visit www.pcaky.org, or to make a report of child abuse, call 1-877-KY-SAFE-1.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Community Rewind rolls on right here out of my living room and not WLCU studios like we're accustomed to. Remember, we always have to learn to change and adapt to all of our circumstances, and sports are no different. With pro, college, even high school and younger sports being put on pause, Campbell's University football season is still hopeful. Spring football was canceled along with baseball and softball, but hopefully with new coaches, new incoming players, a few transfers and high school players coming in, football season should be a lot of fun to watch. But why do you want to listen to me talk about it? Let's hear it from the man himself, head coach Perry Thomas.
It's been a difficult year, and I'm sure we're not the only ones going through it, but it is difficult. One of the things that got us behind was, we changed most of the staff. So once we got our staff in place, we got to hitting the roads hard and doing a good job with our recruiting, and then COVID hit, and it's certainly slowed things down. Now we're getting the guys we want, so we feel good about that. And now we're trying to finish up a few of those guys, but also get those numbers the university, wants us to get. But it's been a challenge because, most of the guys, especially those within driving distance, want to meet us personally. So either us seeing them live or they're coming to campus, and all of that stuff is stopped. So we've had to be very creative in our recruiting. So all of that has been a challenge. Now, the great thing about technology is, we can have our Zoom meetings and Teams meetings and so forth, and do a lot of, facing face-to-face on the computer virtual stuff. But it is different than being in the office and actually getting to dig into things live. So that's a challenge also. But I really feel good about what we're getting done with it. I think we're getting on the same page. Our coaches are doing a good job of doing some meetings, virtual meetings with our returners and our signees on trying to get them up to speed a little bit. So, hopefully sometime this summer, we're gonna all be able to get back in the office and do some live stuff. But I think we're doing as good as we can do right now with what we have. If there was ever a year that you needed spring practice, this was that year. It was kind of like my first year here. My first year here, we came in December, I think, and that spring was so important to get us prepared to compete that fall in 2008. So we needed that spring. So, it's going to be a challenge for us because we're not Division I program. We don't have our guys all summer, and right now they don't either. But I know some are coming back. Our guys will report August the 5th and 6th, and we'll play August the 27th. So we're having to play catch up with meetings and those things. And to be honest, we're just going to use those early games to figure out, who we are and who can do what, and go out there and find a way to win as we work out those puzzle pieces.
Ah, the Green River of Kentucky. How'd we ever get so lucky to have this river green, with more species than most have ever seen? An underwater zoo where we fish, kayak, and canoe. To help protect it, what can we do? Support Forever Green, and let's keep the green clean. Follow us on Facebook at Forever Green River KY.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex Mead. I'm the television program and production director here at WLCU. We just want to make sure we do our part in reminding you to do the important things during this COVID-19 pandemic. Make sure you wash your hands frequently, try not to touch your face, and most importantly, stay at home and practice good social distancing. For more information on what the state of Kentucky is doing in their battle against the COVID-19 virus, visit kycovid19.ky.gov. And for more information on what Campbell's University is doing in our battle, visit campbellsville.edu.
Baby, you see, I can't That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let
Welcome back to Community Rewind. One person left on our lineup today, and now we're going over to the educational side of things, as education across the world is vastly different than what we originally planned. Elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, college, technical learning, everything is completely different than what we had originally planned. As you remember in the very beginning, I mentioned that Campbell's University took all of our classes from face-to-face to online. One of our faculty members that had to do just that was the Dean of the School of Theology, Dr. John Hurchin. Where he's also the Dean of the School of Theology, they take a ton of trips all across the world. They had some big trips planned for this summer, but sadly kind of had to be put on pause. So let's hear about the educational in the classroom and outside the classroom and much more from Dr. John Hurchin.
Well, I'm happy to say that the transition went pretty well. And we owe that to the fact that I got over my fears about 10 years ago of doing online education. When this all first started, I was too frightened myself. So I called on a person, Steve Dwinells, who's still teaching for us, to create our first School of Theology online class. And so all those years after, we have, a lot of programs online. And so it was relatively easy. Everybody teaches pretty much something online, undergrad, grad, and hybrid stuff. And so it was relatively easy. Now, it's always day-to-day, class-to-class to make sure that things go well, whether you're face-to-face or online. Am I prepared? Do I have, what if something goes wrong? We had a trip scheduled May 4 through 14 to go to Greece and Turkey. And it was called In the Footsteps of Paul and John. John is listed second because we were just going to go to Turkey, to Ephesus, and to Patmos. And so John got less of the tour. Paul got more, being in Greece, where we'd spend most of our time. And that, my friend, was canceled. And so, and again, we had fellow profs in the School of Theology outside, the world famous basketball coach Donna Wise. We had some local doctors, and it was just one of those things. Who would have ever thought, And so that was a major one. And then, of course, for our students, all of their internships at various churches certainly had to be tweaked. Some done away with because many were involved with summer camps. And as you know, even on our campus, the camps canceled. Our prayer is that coronavirus, COVID-19, which I've also heard referred to as Rona, we hope Rona will abate and leave not only our state, our nation, but this globe. I know that's the prayer of everyone. And of course, I think during this time, it's just been heightened that things we take for granted, from physical touch to being, just in near proximity to people is something I think we will hold a little bit more dearly now.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19. The anxiety can be overwhelming. If you're feeling extra worried, you're not alone. You can still contact a mental health professional. They're ready to help you get through this. And remember, prepare, focus on the essentials. Protect, keep some space from people outside your home, and disinfect a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Campbellsville University is accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges to award certificates, associate, baccalaureate, master's, and doctoral degrees. Contact the Commission on Colleges at 1866 Southern Lane, Decatur, Georgia, 30033-4097, or call 404-679-4500 for questions about the status of Campbellsville University.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
What's up, guys? I'm Don Smith, and this is What's Cooking Neighbor. So join me every Friday right here on WLCU, where I'll take your taste buds on a culinary journey.
That will wrap it up for week 1 of Community Rewind. This week has been extremely fun to see how different things will work. Typically, we're used to bringing people into the studio for shows, but now we've had to utilize all different kinds of members of our Campbellsville University family and bring them from their living rooms into your living room. It's been a pretty fun week, and join us every single Friday at 7 p.m. where we'll get to see plenty of more stories, not just from Campbellsville University and our family here, but from the Campbellsville and Taylor County community. It should be plenty of fun and a lot more interesting stuff to come up. So even if you're head coach Perry Thomas trying to figure out how to recruit and how to bring these new guys in and new coaches in and get the season ready for the fall, or if you're in the classroom like Dr. Hurchin and trying to figure out how do you have contingency plans for classes, an A and a B and a C, and at this point maybe a Z plan to get ready for the fall semester, and then have summer trips planned that now you got to figure out some way of working around those. And then if you're EJ Pavey and you're getting to see a lot of these great stories of people, how they're working from home and how they're dealing with COVID-19 and how to deal with the stress and figure all this out and work their way around it. And if you're like Josh Schweitzer and you're just trying to make it through it and you realize you have a special place now and you don't want things to fully go back to the way they used to be because there's some cherished moments in this time right now with your families. It's been a wild time, and there's still more to come as we don't focus just on COVID-19 here. We might have this week a little bit, but coming up in the future, we'll have plenty of stories, not just from the Campbellsville University family, but also in the Campbellsville and Taylor County area. Still a ton of more information to come up. So make sure you head on over to WLCU's YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and do all that fun stuff. And you can follow the Community Rewind along with a lot more of our television programs right here on WLCU. And there's plenty of more still to come. I'm pretty happy about it. This is just week 1, still a ton to come. It's gonna be awesome. That's gonna wrap it up here. I'm Alex Mead for Dr. Hurchin, head coach Perry Thomas, EJ Pavey, and Josh Schweitzer. There's a ton of people on this show, and I love it. We'll see you next week, 7 o'clock at Friday nights.